Mothers, before there was a nation, before there was a church, before there was a history as we know it, there was a family. And in the book of Genesis, God began the story of motherhood, parenting, faith, and family. Join me as we see the first ever things that happened in the world in Genesis. Hello everyone, this is your friend Rita. Let us look at 7 things in history that were ever first recorded in Genesis. The first creation, Genesis chapter 1. In Genesis chapter 1, we saw the first heaven, the first light and darkness, the first man and woman, Adam and Eve. This tells us that God is the beginning of everything. God is the beginning of every creation, including your family. The second thing, we see the first marriage in Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. The first husband and wife, the first family created by God, the first family that ever existed was created by God Himself. Mother, family was God's idea, and He still cares about your home. And remember, a marriage is the union of a man and woman, not the union of man and man, not the union of woman and woman. God created the first marriage, man and woman. Genesis 2, verse 24. In this number 2, we also see the first disobedience, the first shame and separation from God. First act of God's mercy. God covered the man and the woman. When they found that they were naked, God covered their nakedness. Even when man failed God, God still shows mercy. God is still merciful about you. The third, we see the first sin and the first mercy. Adam and Eve disobeyed God, but God had mercy on them. We have the first disobedience, first shame and separation from God, first act of God's mercy. God covered them. God covered their nakedness. Despite the fact that Adam and Eve sinned against God by disobeying Him, still they covered their shame. He had mercy on them. God is still merciful about you. The fourth, the first birth and the first mother. Genesis 4, verse 1. The first pregnancy, the first childbirth, first experience of motherhood. Motherhood began with God, and He understands your journey. God understands the journey of a mother. He sees the pain, He sees the sorrow, and He will give you joy. Motherhood is beautiful. He sees the pain, He sees the joy, and He wants you to be more joyful. The fifth, the first worship and the first offering. Genesis chapter 4, 3-5. We saw the first sacrifice to God, first lesson about sincere worship. God looks at the heart, not just the sacrifice. He looks at the heart that is given. Are you giving with a sincere heart? It is that sincerity that He will bless. The sixth, it talks about the first mother and family pain, the first jealousy and violence, the first family grief. Even the first family faced pain, yet God still continues His plan. Let us not be a pain to God our Creator. Let us be a joy to Him. Let us make Him happy for creating us. And the seventh thing that happened the first in history is the first covenant. The first covenant God had with man, that is Noah, Genesis chapter 9. First covenant between God and man, the first rainbow as a promise. God keeps His promises to family and generation. Now, as a mother, as a parent, I want you to make sure by all means to allow God to keep His promises in your generation through our attitude, through our childbearing, through our child upbringing, through raising godly seed. through our attitudes, the value we give to our children and family, and the value we preserve for our generations yet unborn. Now, the additional one is the first call of a nation. Genesis chapter 12. Abraham, God called Abraham, the first chosen family that became a nation, the first promise of generational blessings. Your family can carry God's promises into the future. In Genesis, we see all the first beginning. Genesis is a book of beginning. We see the first family, the first mother, the first prayer, the first promise. The same God who started history is still writing history in your family today. Just trust Him and obey.